Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Today's video is going to be a fast one, comparing Aftershot 2 to LightRoomCC. Now, in my experience, between the two, it really depends on the image itself, whether it's underexposed, overexposed, etc. So in today's video, I'm going to show an example of an underexposed image and the difference between the two software and how they compare. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's go ahead. Now, this image is already in Aftershot 2. And we see some buttons like auto level and perfectly clear. Let's go ahead and click that. And that doesn't look too good to me. Now, if I go to my Lightroom, which is the same image as we can tell, same light. Let me just go ahead and click on the auto button here in Lightroom. So much better, obviously. Now, I will mention that my monitor is not calibrated like some may do with those special devices that they use. They attach to the monitor and calibrate them, especially for when they print out the images and so forth, and or viewing the image itself on the monitor screen. So these are just out of the box, the way it is. All right, so as we could tell, when I clicked this auto level in Aftershot, it didn't really do it justice. I'm going to unclick that and click perfectly clear, and that's okay. But now I'm going to have to go ahead and start messing with all these. Now, I will mention that within Aftershot, I do like the straighten feature on certain images. That's pretty cool. So let me just go ahead and mess around with it. Exposure. Bring up some highlights. Maybe a fill light. Yeah, too much. As we can tell, it's just not really doing this image justice, no matter what I do. I'm going to go ahead and reset. Now, getting back to Lightroom, as we saw right here, it already did a miraculous job at bringing this underexposed image back to life. Now I'm just going to go ahead and let's see here. I'm going to take down the blacks a little bit. Take down the whites a little bit. There we go. I am going to bring in some highlights, bring in some shadows. Clarity I'm going to set about 10 maybe. Bring up the whites again a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Bring the exposure down just a little bit, just to where I like it. All right, now, not details, I want lens correction. All right, there that is. And effects, let's see what dehaze does. Yeah, right about there. Okay, so with just a few minor adjustments, it already brought this particular image back to life. There's still a few things that would need to be done to it, but as you can tell, it's a big difference compared to this, just from hitting the auto levels. I mean, it doesn't really do this image justice. Now, on an regular image, like let's say this one in Aftershot, I'm going to go ahead and click auto level. Okay, brought out the trees in the background a little bit. Get clear. Okay, brought out just a little more brightness. I'm just going to go ahead and bring down that. Some highlights maybe. Maybe a little fill light. Just a little bit darker contrast. I do like contrast. All right. Now, as we tell, on this kind of an image, it does a good job. A real good job. Now, I'm going to show an image that I did edit in Aftershot 2. This is a self-portrait of myself. And this was taken with a Tamron 70 to 300 millimeter. No no image stabilization on it. The focus was good and all that. And it came out rather good in Aftershot. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other things. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at the Aftershot Pro 3 because I'm currently using Aftershot Pro 2. And right now they have it on sale for $80 for the newer version. And if you wanted to upgrade, it would be $60 out of the box. Now, and then they show the comparison of the prices and so forth. But it will not do panoramas. Only the description for the LightRoomCC will. All right, now I will mention that when you do decide to get a yearly plan for Lightroom and Photoshop combined for the annual price of $119.88, they don't really inform you about the VAT until you actually purchase it. Because when I bought it, it's already out. Anyway, they charged me an extra $7.19. So my bill came out to $127.07. So keep that in mind. But now I will say that with the yearly subscription for the Lightroom CC and Photoshop photograph package is that you get all the updates free and they continually update it. You don't pay a dime for that. And the other thing I want to mention about the Lightroom CC is that when it comes to the combination of Lightroom and Photoshop CC, let's say that I wanted to, I'm going to go choose a folder. Let's see, 2, here it is. I'm just going to go ahead and click open since I have it already automatically set up on my system to open up in Photoshop. And here we go. Now, if I were to just click my mouse on there, it would be just like if I were inside Lightroom itself. So I could just go ahead, and mess with the exposures and stuff like that. And so forth. And let's say when I'm done, I can just go ahead, click open image, and so forth. So that part is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. Nope, I don't want to save. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. All right, now. Like I was saying at the very beginning, it really depends on the image itself. If it's underexposed, then in Aftershot, it's not going to do that great of a job. I cannot speak for Aftershot Pro 3 because I do not have it yet. And I'm still deciding whether to upgrade to the newer version or not, because I do have the yearly subscription with Adobe as well. But when I first got into this, I wanted to have both so that I can kind of compare between the two and decide later on if I wanted to go ahead and do the next yearly annual when it runs out on me. Or just every year or every other year, spend the $80 for the, the new update or upgrade for Aftershots. Now, when I compared Coral PaintShop Pro version 8 Ultimate, which is the one that I have, there are some very cool features in there that Photoshop doesn't have, like text wrapping and so forth. That's very cool. The other feature that I saw that PaintShop Pro version 8 has that Photoshop CC does not is the Smart Selection Brush. Now, if your photo is taken very good and the background is clearly separated from the person or the object, what happens is that with that brush, when you click on it, when you use it and click on the background, it selects the entire background automatically. And you can delete it, and you have just the focus of the image itself, that one entity that you want it to remain. And then you can change the background, to something else or a solid color or whatever. That part I found very intriguing. I did like that. It takes a little while getting used to, but it was very cool, especially the text wrapping in Coral PaintShop Pro version 8 Ultimate. But Photoshop, as most of us know, is de facto the standard because there's a lot of things that you can do with it. The adjustments, the levels, and all that. You can separations. It just, when it comes right down to it, is going to depend on your personal preference and your personal budget of what you can do. And like I said, for me, it's really going to depend after I do this full year of using both these software to determine for myself whether which one's going to be the best one for me. But as we saw with the certain images that I did, I'm going to go ahead and get back to this one. Bring up the Lightroom again. Let's get back over here. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and get back to standard right there. Just to drive this home a little bit. I'm going to reset. All right. This is straight out of the camera. Upload it to the computer. If I click on the auto level, looks like garbage. But in Lightroom, it's a little more intuitive because if I click on auto, it's so much better. I mean, it just brought it back to life. Granted, you'll still have to mess around with some of the adjustments, to get it to where your personal preference is. But as you can tell, there is a big difference for underexposed images. Now, if the image is straight out of the box, really good exposure and all that, like the one I did of myself right here, I mean, it can do wonders. It's not a bad program. But you got to decide for yourself which one is going to be best for you. All right, so I do hope this brief video of showing an underexposed image and the difference between the Aftershot 2 compared to LightRoomCC. If you did like this video, please leave me a comment and don't forget to subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Until next time.